This bulb is dead. It stopped working 8 months ago. The box it came in promised 25,000 hours of life. That's roughly 15 years. It lasted less than one. And the company that made it is counting on you to do exactly what most people do. Toss it in the trash, drive to the hardware store, and hand over another $8. Here's the number that should bother you. The global LED lighting market was valued at over $109 billion in 2025, and an estimated 8 billion LED bulbs reached the end of their supposed lifespan in 2024 alone, triggering what the industry calls a secondary replacement wave, 5.8 billion bulbs, in a single year for a product that was supposed to last a decade and a half. That's not a technology problem, that's a revenue stream. And the specific component that killed this bulb costs less than $1. It's available on Amazon right now, and swapping it out takes about 5 minutes with a screwdriver you already own. And here's a quick engineering lesson that changes how you see every light fixture in your house. An LED bulb is actually two completely separate devices fused into one package. The first device is the LED chip array, the actual light-emitting semiconductor. Under optimal conditions, LED chips themselves are capable of lasting up to 100,000 hours or more. That part almost never fails. The second device is the driver board, a tiny circuit hidden inside the base of the bulb. Its job is to convert your home's 120-volt AC current down to the low-voltage DC current the LED chips can actually use. And inside that driver board, then, there is one component that is dramatically weaker than everything around it, a single aluminum electrolytic capacitor. A small cylinder, usually about the size of a pencil eraser, that smooths the electrical current before it reaches the LED chips. Research presented through the Illuminating Engineering Society has identified electrolytic capacitors as one of the two highest failure components in LED drivers. The dominant degradation mechanism is electrolyte evaporation. A liquid inside the capacitor slowly dries out over time. And here's the part that exposes exactly how this was engineered. The process is brutally sensitive to heat. A roughly 10 degrees Celsius rise in operating temperature can cut a capacitor's useful life in half. Now think about where manufacturers install this heat-sensitive capacitor. Directly inside the base of a bulb that generates heat every single time it operates. Sealed inside a plastic housing with minimal airflow, studies have shown the LED's electronic driver is responsible for around 60% of bulb failures in practice. And heat buildup is a major culprit. If an LED bulb is installed in a poorly ventilated fixture or enclosed space, the excess heat can fry the driver or capacitor long before the LED's 30,000 hour rating is reached. Put the component most vulnerable to heat directly inside the component that generates the most heat. This isn't a manufacturing accident. This is an engineering decision. The LED chip will outlast your house. The 40 capacitor sitting next to it was never designed to, before anything else. The bulb must be completely removed from the socket, unplugged, and left to cool for at least 10 minutes. Never open a bulb that is warm, and never perform this while any power source is connected. This is a teardown of a low-voltage driver board. We are handling it as an educational engineering analysis only. Now here's what you're looking for and where to get the fix. Step 1. Open the bulb. Most standard A19 LED bulbs, the classic household shape, have a plastic dome that simply unscrews counterclockwise from the aluminum base. Do it slowly. There are two thin wires connecting the dome to the base. Don't pull hard. Gentle rotation, then lift Step 2, locate the capacitor, carefully pull the circuit board from the bulb. The damaged capacitor is usually inflated and visibly damaged. Look for a small cylindrical component, silver or black, with a top that is slightly domed or bulged outward. A healthy capacitor has a flat top. A failed one puffs up like a tiny can of soda left in a hot car. That dome is your confirmation. That's the part that killed your bulb. Step 3. Read the markings. On the side of the capacitor, you'll see two numbers printed in tiny text. Something like 10 μF 400 volts or 4.7 μF 450 volts. That's the capacitance value and the voltage rating. Write those numbers down as exactly Step 4. Then source the replacement, meet Amazon or eBay for electrolytic capacitor, followed by those exact numbers. A pack of 5 replacement capacitors matching your spec runs between $0.50 and $2 for the entire pack. A single capacitor costs less than a quarter. Order a matching or slightly higher voltage rating. Never go lower. Alternatively, any electronics supply store carries them. DigiKey, Mouser, or your local electronics shop. Then You can also find basic assortment packs of 100 mixed capacitors on Amazon for around $8. That's enough to fix every dead bulb in your house, in your neighbor's house. Step 5. The swap. This is where basic soldering comes in. If you own a $15 soldering iron, this is a 2-minute job. Heat each lead of the old capacitor, pull it free, insert the new one observing polarity. The negative lead is marked with a stripe, and solder it in. Clean. Done. If you don't own a soldering iron, this is a good moment to get one. A basic unit from Amazon runs about $10 and opens up the ability to repair dozens of household electronics. The payback on that $10 iron happens the first time you use it. Step 6. Reassemble and test, reconnect the dome, screw it closed, reinstall the bulb. In the majority of cases with a visibly swollen capacitor, the bulb comes back to full brightness immediately. Replacing the defective capacitor will often solve this problem. Not sometimes, often. This is a well-documented repair in electronics communities, and it works for the same reason the bulb failed. The capacitor was always the weak link, and replacing it with a properly rated component addresses the root cause directly. The results are not gradual. The bulb either works or it doesn't. Immediate feedback. Dollars in. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at what this actually represents as a business model. The Phoebus Cartel, a group of the world's largest light bulb manufacturers in the 1920s, deliberately enforced a maximum bulb lifespan of 1 hours through a system of monetary fines. Bulbs lasting significantly longer than that limit were penalized. It is widely cited as one of the first documented cases of planned obsolescence. The players changed. The strategy didn't. LEDs are generally designed to last between 25,000 to 40,000 hours, translating to a real-world service life of 7 to 10 years. By 2028, secondary replacement demand is projected to account for 78% of all LED lighting demand. 78%. The majority of the entire LED lighting market within 2 years will be people replacing bulbs they already bought, and they will replace them because of a $0. That's 40 capacitor running too hot inside a sealed housing that was never designed to keep it cool. Studies have shown the LED driver is responsible for around 60% of bulb failures in practice. The component that costs the most to manufacture is fine. The component that costs almost nothing is what breaks. Every time, on a predictable schedule tied directly to heat exposure. A 0.40 capacitor that permanently restores a bulb a consumer is paying $8 to replace every year is not a business model, it's a business ending. The LED chip in the bulb I opened at the start of this video had logged fewer than 800 hours of operation. The chip itself was in perfect condition. The single 0.40 capacitor next to it had failed. That bulb is now sitting in my kitchen, running normally. Total repair cost, 0.40 in 10 minutes. The next time a bulb goes dark in your house, don't walk to the trash can. Walk to your workbench. Unscrew the dome. Look at the capacitor. If it's domed, you have your answer, and a $1.40 fix waiting on Amazon LED chips themselves are capable of lasting up to 100,000 hours under optimal conditions. You paid for that chip. You own that chip. The only thing standing between you and a decade of light from it is a component smaller than your thumbnail that the manufacturer chose not to spec correctly. Every time you fix something they designed to break, you take a little bit of your power back. If you want to stop renting your own appliances, hit the like button so the algorithm shares this with someone who just threw a perfectly fixable bulb in a landfill. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.